Check to make sure you're connected to a stable. It kicked me out again, even though I have full.
Weird. Yeah, let me grab my phone. Okay, so hotspot name is now Rachel's phone.
So I go to this guy, right?
Mm-hmm. Rachel's phone.
Okay.
And then same password, all caps, RBCA.
RBCA.
And then 527.
527.
You want to take off this.
Oh. I told you about my skills.
530.
530.
Okay.
Unable to connect. Is that weird?
Yes.
I mean, we've been on the Wi-Fi all...
You're on. You're full. Full Nelson.
Okay. Now here I am. Got some people on here. Howdy there, folks. Happy Saturday. Great to see you. We are just about to get warmed up a little bit, and I am working on my connectivity. We're here in Fort Lauderdale at Rachel and Chrissy's residence, and we've got a nice situation set up here. So let's just start moving around. Now's your chance to foam roll, do some dislocates, do some dynamic stretches, do some warm-up movements. You know, I'm always a big fan of foam rolling or doing different types of band dislocates. And I have full connectivity, but if I disappear on you, I will be back within seconds. So nothing to worry about.
Question for you.
What's that?
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Is this a good time?
Yeah, absolutely.
I texted you last night. Is there any way that we can go at 9 a.m.
9 a.m. tomorrow? Yep, that's a-okay.
Eastern time?
Yep, I am here in Florida with you, so we're on the same page.
Right. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
Absolutely, thank you. And sorry I didn't get back to you yet.
That's okay. I know you're busy.
All right, all right. Got a couple of fitness pals with me. Lucky me, I'll have some stellar examples to help with the demonstration. Got boxes falling on our heads, and that's just part of the training. You know, we're always going to have unknowns. So, Rachel, I'll have your zone be here. This is all your stuff. And Andrea, your zone is here. As usual, remember, you can get creative. Put something in your hand. If you don't have a kettlebell or a dumbbell, pick something up, because weight's weight, and getting to work is the most important part. So don't get hung up on if you don't have the perfect piece of equipment. There's not a correct thing to hold in your hands, or there's not an incorrect thing that you can use for these exercises we're doing. And this is week 3 of our high V workout. High V meaning high volume. And we're hitting butts and guts, lots of glutes, lots of abs or core, you could say. And we've got 5 minutes, so keep moving around, find what you need. Get your mind right, get your body right. Cannot stress the benefit of investing a little time before a training session to prep yourself and kind of find what you need to address before we get rolling. And you got a couple of yogis here giving you some great examples. I always give you some free time to explore what you need here as a warm-up, or you can follow along what I typically do. But we've got some great dynamic stretching going on right in front of you, so feel free to join Andrea or Rachel. Four minutes. Howdy, Leslie. Good to see you playing on your stability ball already. Getting the ball warmed up as well. Couple minutes and it'll be time to rock and roll. I'll give you a brief synopsis of what we're going through, what we're running through, but we are already a bit familiar with this workout because it is week 3 of our butts and guts routine. And you already know that when it comes to our glute work, we superset 2 glute exercises, one being a supine exercise on the floor, some sort of hip thrust or bridge variation. We superset that with some sort of standing glute-based exercise like a squat or a lunge variation. We're actually doing it the opposite. Programming-wise, we switched the superset order. Today, we always hit the glutes first with our standing variation, and then we move to the ground. So we pre-fatigue the glutes with something big, and then we move to the ground and we focus more specifically on glutes and hammies, amongst some other muscle groups as well. Remember, 20 is our magic number. We're doing 20 on everything today because the goal when I was designing this program was to do some high volume work that is not just endless and mindless. A lot of time we fall in the trap of doing a lot of volume, but for no good reason. And so the challenge for me was to administer 200 reps of glute stuff, 200 reps of abdominal or core stuff in a fashion that is both productive and structured so that you can tell that the who, why, what, when, where, how all come into play here. So standing glute stuff, supine butt stuff. Then we move to a core superset where once again we are combining first a transverse or rotational type exercise, and then we move on to our sagittal plane or more of like a conventional crunching type of exercise. And so get about 0 minutes, so let's rock and roll. Joining me today once again, Andrea and the wonderful Rachel. Super stoked that she's got this great setup with lots of toys we can use. But as always, remember, you don't have to have the same toys that we do. What matters is that you're just getting to work, practicing the movement patterns, and focusing on reaping as much benefit from the movements, regardless of what tools or how much weight you're using. So good opportunity to get creative, though. Grab some pillows, grab a milk jug, grab a baby, go outside, grab a rock. Weight's weight, and it will help you with the workout. So without further ado, we've got Rachel set up right here, Andrea set up over there. They will be performing the same exercises, but slightly different modifications or variations due to what equipment or lack thereof we could say that we're working with. For example, Andrea is using a stability ball to elevate her torso or her feet on the bridges, and Rachel's using this stool. Both work just fine as long as you've got something to put your feet up on or something to put your shoulders up on. They've both got some slam balls and med balls, different weights, different sizes. That's a-okay. They've both got kettlebells, different weights, different sizes. So although they are both what I would consider advanced trainees, they don't need to have exactly the right amount of weight that I would give them if we were in like a commercial gym or something, had all the toys in the world. So let's go ahead and dive head first or butt first right into our first glute superset. We're combining box squats. Remember, 20 reps, everything. You know how many to do because we're doing 20 of everything. And we're combining the box squats where you sit onto something and you stand back up with our bent leg, feet elevated hip thrusts or bridges. So you put your feet on something and you'll bend your knees and we'll thrust your hips. So let's get something you can sit on like a chair or a box or a stool, and let's go ahead and get into 20 reps together. You'll start when Andrea and Rachel start. So Rachel's got this box, and what I like to do for a great tool to squat onto, I like using slam balls. I'm a big fan of slam balls because they give you a great range of motion. So you'll see them using different things to squat on too. So let's all step in front of whatever you're sitting on. You're going to start sitting down on your implement. The squat always starts and finishes on your box. And get ready to stand up with Rachel and Andrea in 3, 2, 1, and stand up. And sit down. Now we're going to lift your feet up briefly. Lift your feet up when you sit down and then stand back up. Throwing that in there last minute. You know I like to pick on everybody as we go on the fly. And I like to lift the feet and then stand up because that forces you to re-engage your abdominal, your core, your entire core, and obviously your glutes and the rest of your legs. Box squats are a very hip hinge dominant exercise. So really sit back, lead with your hips. You can really get a good view here of Rachel doing just that. You can see how deep Andrea is going using her slam ball for the reps. I am not counting, but I'm counting on putting all 3 of our heads together and internal metronomes together to get our 20 reps. I like to inhale when I lift my feet, exhale as I push and stand up. Sit down, inhale, lift the feet, drive the feet into the ground, especially your heels. Think about the hip hinge movement. To keep this glute dominant, we really sit back. Lead with your butt, push your hips back, sit on the thing. Now, once you get your 20 reps in, let's get ready and make our way to the ground for our first supine bridge or hip thrust variation. You're going to have your knees bent. Andrea's going to use the stability ball to elevate her feet. Knees bent at about 90 degrees, heels up on the box or bench or ball or whatever you're using. Let's go and start our 20 reps, 20 hip thrusts in 3, 2, 1, and go. Andrea had a great question. Can you add weight? And you might remember from last week, I did add some weight to my hip. We're already underway, so don't worry about it yet. We've got plenty of bridge variations ahead of us. If something's right there within reaching distance, sure, go and put it on your lap. I'm here in person, so I'm going to go ahead and pick on Rachel. And Andrea's already on top of it. Now remember, on any hip thrust or bridge variation, we're focusing and implementing a bit of a posterior pelvic tilt at the top of the bridge, which basically means we just don't want to overarch our lower back. So you kind of tell yourself at the top of the bridge to squeeze your butt, to tuck your tailbone or your glutes under a little bit, and to tuck your belly button in. That's a posterior pelvic tilt, which just helps avoid a little bit of undue stress on your lumbar spinal erectors. We're deep into this set now. Now you know we're moving on to our core superset right after this. So once you hit your 20 reps, let's go ahead and stay put because we're going to stay on the ground. Actually, our first core exercise, our rotational exercise, is bicycle crunches. You don't need anything for this, so go and stay on the ground. Remember, fingertips on your ears, opposite elbow to opposite knee. Twisting back and forth or right and left is 1 rep. So you're really getting 40 twists. You can see Rachel and Andrea are already underway. And whenever I am talking, you see them, they'll start before I'm done explaining things. So go and start with them. That is one huge benefit of having 2 awesome fitness models demonstrate for you, is you don't have to listen to my long-winded explanations, but you know I'm never going to skip the who, what, when, why, where, how. So listen to me while you look at them. Little tummy rubbing and head patting at the same time. You know we like that. Remember, back and forth is 1 rep. You're thinking opposite elbow to opposite knee. You might not touch your elbow to knee, but that's your mindset. Opposite elbow to opposite knee. We're never pulling on the back of our heads, fingertips on your ears. Work to fully extend your legs as much as possible. After your 20 bicycles, we're going to hit our sagittal plane ab exercise, core exercise, which are some V-ups, kind of an old school ab exercise. Rachel and Andrea, let's both face me, but stay where you're at on the ground. Your butt is your fulcrum here, so that's what I want you to think about on these V-ups. You can kickstand your hands behind you, and your feet are off the ground. You're going to bring your knees to your chest, and your chest to your knees 20 times. You're going to open up, fulcrum, hinge, close, and keep telling yourself, knees to chest, chest to knees. Push your tailbone into the ground, that's your fulcrum, and that's very important to think about, both to recruit your abdominals and to keep any undue stress limited on your lower back. Now we've got a couple of advanced yogis here. You see they are not kickstanding their arms behind them like I do, because that helps me when I'm busting these out, if you remember from the last 2 workouts. But you can certainly take the advanced modification by keeping your arms in front of you rather than kickstanding them behind you. After your 20 reps, you already know that we're moving on to our next glute superset. Our lunge or squat variation will be a side lunge. And so we need room to step, a big step to the side, to the left, big step to the right. These are kind of fast tempo because we've got 20 on each side. And that's 40 lunges when you think about it. So let's make sure we've got some room. Let's go ahead and pick on Rachel and Andrea again. I'm giving Rachel a big old kettlebell. And Andrea, this, hold it in front of you like a goblet squat style. All right, we're taking a big step to the side and bust it out. Now remember, to make any squat or lunge as hip hinge or glute or posterior dominant as possible, which we do want to do, you really want to think about sitting back. So you get a good stretch in your groin, you get a good stretch in your hip adductors, inner thighs, and once you take that big step, really sit back, almost like, I like that drop set. You know we like drop sets here. Just because you can't keep rolling with a certain weight doesn't mean you can't decrease the weight and keep going. So that is up to you and paying attention to your own capacities and your own body and the quality of your movements to drop the weight, hit a drop set, and keep rolling. So remember, we've got 20 on each side. And we've talked about this before. That might seem like some crazy volume, like, holy cow, Matt, 40 side lunges. Well, you're doing about 1 lunge every 1.5, not even 2 seconds. So at the end of the day, you're really side lunging for about a minute, give or take, which, when you put it that way, side lunges for a minute doesn't sound so crazy. If you're like me, you count 1, 1, 2, 2, or you can count to 40 if you're counting every single side lunge. I'm not going to lie, I'm experiencing a little bit of FOMO because I love to hit butts and guts, but I am super stoked to have 2 wonderful fitness assistants making me look good today. All right, now when you are wrapping up your side lunges, we're going to be moving on to our next supine. Supine means you're on your spine, on the ground, hip thrust or bridge variation. This time we're doing a straight leg torso elevated hip thrust. So Rather than our feet being elevated, our shoulder blades, scapulas are elevated. Feet are on the ground, legs are straight. Instead of bent knees, legs are straight. So let's go ahead and set up on the ground with your torso elevated. So your shoulder blades will be right here. Shoulder blades up on the ball. Your legs are straight. Knees are not bent. Still a hip hinge exercise. Actually, more of a hip hinge exercise than a bent leg bridge. We're going to start with our butts on the ground. All right. And now let's go ahead and start thrusting. So push your hips up. Dig your heels into the ground. You're going to notice that the range of motion, we're slipping on the carpet a little bit. That is perfectly fine. Happens. You'll notice that the range of motion is clearly decreased by doing this straight leg variation, regardless of what you're elevating your shoulder blades on. It's because when you bend your knees, your shins just give you a little more elevation, whether your feet elevated or torso elevated. Remember the posterior pelvic tilt. We're always tucking in and tucking under. Drive those heels into the ground. Don't just lift your hips, squeeze your butt. Like you're trying to give yourself a butt cramp on every single rep. Your goal on this high V, high volume workout is to build and build mechanical tension. By the time you get to 10 on some whatever bridge we're doing, you should already feel like a good amount of lactic acid has accumulated, so those last 10 are extra fun. So, once you finish your 20 straight leg, torso elevated hip thrusts, let's go ahead and move into our next core superset, our rotational or transverse plane exercise. It's going to be upper body twisters. Now, you don't need anything here, but having something light in your hands can help, like a stability ball or a pillow even. Rachel's going to use this squishy disc that no one really knows what the name of it is, but everyone's gym has them. They are useful. You're going to hop up onto your feet with that, and Andrea's going to use her stability ball just like I typically do. So you're holding on these upper body twisters. You're keeping your implement in both hands, squared up in front of your torso, right in front of your sternum. You're going to keep your hips and lower body planted, and we are operating solely, good move, solely from the torso. So twisting back and forth is one rep. We want to stop on a dime. We want to work on the acceleration and deceleration. Try to keep your glutes, hips still, and operate, again, move from, say, the belly button up. Wherever you twist, your belly button, your torso, your pecs, your sternum, follow your hands or your implement. Like accelerate, decelerate, accelerate, decelerate. Fast, skirt, fast, skirt. Again, you don't need much weight. You can do this with just your arms. And if you're really focusing on using your obliques, hitting anterior and external obliques with this exercise, then you'll feel the front and back of your sides working regardless of what you've got in your hands. All right, moving right along. Our next sagittal plane core exercise is a jackknife crunch. We're going to use those same light implements. We're going to lay down on our backs on the ground. So if you've got a stability ball, grab it, pillow, squishy, balancy disc thing, anything works. So we're going to lay on the ground. Go ahead and hold this in your hands. Remember, a jackknife crunch, you're passing your implement from your hands to your feet and your feet to your hands. So once again, your fulcrum is in the middle, but it's more of your mid to lower back, not your tailbone. We're going to start fully extended, arms and legs straight. You're going to do a crunch and then pass the ball or whatever you're using to your feet or your hands. So yeah, we're going primal here and using our feet as hands. And every time you extend your body and open up, we want to get your upper extremities and your lower extremities as close to or touching the ground as possible. And remember that every single pass is a crunch. If you're passing it to your feet, crunch, get your shoulder blades off the ground. If you're passing the implement to your hands, you crunch, get your shoulder blades off the ground. Now, just like last week, and you're gonna thank me for this, is that every pass counts as one rep. We're not going back and forth through 20 reps. You remember that's how same thing we've been doing the last couple weeks, and that's because 20 passes, in my opinion, my opine, is sufficient enough. It feels like you just did 20 very hard crunches. So you're going 10 back and forth or 20 passes total. You want to get your reps in, keep track, don't cut yourself short. Get your volume in. 20 is our magic number. 20 passes. And then, I know it's burning. I mean, I even feel these in my lower back when I do them. I actually like that aspect of it. But it's time to hop back up on our feet once you hit your reps. And we'll be going into our next squat, lunge, standing, butt stuff exercise. So, let's go ahead and make our way up. Get your reps in, Rachel. Get your reps in. There we go. All right. Our next hip hinge dominant standing exercise is going to be some swings. Good old-fashioned swings. Swing whatever you want. You got a kettlebell, you got a rock, you got a baby, you got a milk jug. We're doing some swings, and Andrea is going to be using this kettlebell. I'm going to pick on Andrea a little bit extra, have her step on this band. Try this out. A lot of you have done these with me before. Let's spread your feet out even wider. Pretty wide stance to make these sumo swings. Let's give you a little more band. Pick your feet up. There you go. Rachel's kettlebell is good and heavy enough. So we're going to get 20 powerful hip-generated swings in. We know that this is all about the hip hinge. We know this is all about the butt. Weight in between your legs. Extra wide stance. Let's get to hinging and let's get to powering and squeezing the glutes. Oh yeah, you got a resistance band to the mix. It's a whole nother ball game. Now, regardless of what you're swinging, you stomp into the ground. You stand up, locking your body out. You stomp and squeeze. We even think about that posterior pelvic tilt at the top, at the completion of each rep. This exercise obviously goes by pretty quick. Swings are pretty quick tempo. All right, nice. The next supine booty building, booty burning exercise is going to be some bent leg, torso elevated bridges. So you see here we're just playing with angles. These are all kind of the same exercise, but when it comes to building muscle, getting stronger, we're just doing geometry. It's all about geometry. Change the angles and you get to attack your muscles from a different angle, in a different way, a different effect. So we've got torso elevated, knees bent, feet on the ground. We didn't do these right yet, right?
No.
Okay, great.
Just straight leg ones.
All right, so Rachel, go and hop shoulder blades down on the bench. We've got 20 hip thrusts, knees bent, feet flat on the ground. Drive your heels into the ground. And let's go ahead and fire up these 20 hip thrusts. The glutes should be awake by now. And once again, if you don't feel a significant burning sensation by rep 10 or 12, focus on squeezing. It doesn't matter if you have weight on your lap or not. Yeah, that's a tool that helps. However, it's really up to your mind, muscle, mind-body connection to clench your glutes at the top with that little posterior pelvic tilt. Tell yourself you're trying to give yourself a glute cramp. It's not a bad thing to have that mindset. Squeeze it hard. Glutes are a very fun and effective muscle group to hit with high volume because they can keep on working and keep on going. Even if it burns so much you're going to scream and you feel like you're going to cry. The glutes have the work capacity to just keep on going, keep on working through the burn, and that's what we should be doing today with this 200 rep superset workout. Once you hit your 20 reps, you're going to hop back up on your feet for our next transverse plane exercise. I lied to you. We're going to stay down on your backs. Now we're doing lower body twisters. This is basically the opposite of the upper body twisters. Instead of standing and twisting from the torso up, we're laying down, holding something in between your legs, and twisting from the lower body, lower back and legs. You're going to make sure you've got your arms anchored out to the side. That's what's holding you down. That's what's anchoring your body. Let's all start with our legs up in the air. Get yourself a good hamstring stretch. Legs straight, arms out wide. Drop the ball right or left or whatever you're holding on to. Touch the ground or come close to it. If you can't quite get the ground, that's fine. We don't want your shoulders rolling way up off the ground. We want to keep yourself anchored. So there is a bit of upper body, specifically triceps and rear delts, coming into play here, pushing into the ground to help keep you from rolling off the ground. Tell yourself, you want both shoulder blades to stay on the ground. Get yourself some nice back poppins in. If you're like me, I always get a good ring the towel effect with my lower back. Get some good pops in. We are going to 20 on each side. Back and forth 20 times. I know you're already about halfway, so let's tell yourself, speed it up a little bit. Think pull with your obliques, push with your arm. Other side, pull from the core, push into the ground. That's something special about this core exercise is it's a push and a pull exercise simultaneously. And you'll find that if you link it up, sync it up, push into the ground right when it's time to reverse. And that really helps keep you smooth, steady, safe, and effective. They're really synonymous. I know it burns, but you already know rule 1. We're not here for your comfort. It's not a nap class. All right. Finish those reps up. Moving on from lower body twisters, that's our transverse exercise in the back. And we're going into some upward crunches. So whether you're laying over a stability ball, and we can actually use that disc again, kind of put it right under the middle of your mid to low back. We're going to do some upward crunches. I'm going to go ahead and pick on both of these gals and put their med ball, slam ball in their hands. We're going to go straight arms, pushing your ball straight up to the sky, straight up to the ceiling. And as always on any type of crunch, we focus on the spinal extension or the eccentric or downward phase just as much as we focus on the upward crunch phase. So yeah, we get that crunch and that contraction by pushing the ball straight up vertically or whatever you're holding on to, straight up to the ceiling. But lean back, all right? Lean back. Stretch, drape, inhale. When you lay back, stretch your abs, drape yourself back over your implement. Now for me personally, I inhale as I stretch and drape, exhale as I crunch and push. I like the noises coming out of our mouths in this fitness facility here. Let it out. We are cruising right through this workout, making very good time. Go you. We've only got 2 types of supersets each. We're 3 down, 2 to go of glutes and abs. So our 4th glute superset, 4th out of 5. Our lunge squat variation is going to be a creeper cross back lunge. This is one of Andrea's favorite lower body or glute exercises. A creeper cross back lunge I like because we get a little bit of lateral motion in. It's good for hip, ankle, knee stability, good for injury prevention. You're going to stay down, all right? We're creeping. We're staying down. You're going to step behind you. You may or may not touch your back knee to the ground. Keep your torso squared up facing forward. We're really doing this to hit the outer glutes, glute medius specifically. So let's get 20 reps. And for this today, let's make it 20 total or 10 on each side. All right? And let's hit it. The lower the better. If you don't have much weight in your hands, stay down. You're a creeper, stay down. What can also help give you the right effect here is when you step into that cross back and you descend, twist your torso towards your front leg. If you tell yourself you're twisting your torso towards your front leg, that helps give you the desired effect we're looking for on your outer hips, outer glutes, glute medius. Killing it. We got 20 total here. That's a gift today. 10 on each side.
Oh, only 20 total?
20 total, yeah. Now you already know we're hitting the deck going into our next hip thrust bridge variation. So as soon as you're done, hop on down. If you got a weight, get ready to put it on your lap. And we are going into a straight leg, feet elevated bridge. So we're laying on the ground. Feet elevated, heels elevated on whatever your implement is, bar, stool, bench, chair, ottoman, stability ball. Go ahead and weight yourself up. And let's go ahead and thrust up, get that posterior pelvic tilt. We got straight legs. And once again, you'll notice right away, our range of motion is severely decreased. That is by design. That's not a bad thing here. Doesn't mean you're going to get any less of a burn. In my opine, once again, straight leg bridges are actually harder than bent knee bridges. I think that's how it is for most people. You've got less leverage because you've got a longer lever with your knees extended. Go for that squeeze. Let's get that butt cramp by 10 or 12. You should be fighting for that second half, the back half. Now breathe with it. Remember, your breath is your best friend. Breathe with it. Thrust with it. Breathe with it. Thrust with it. All right, once you hit 20, we are going into our fourth core superset, our transverse exercise. We're doing some carousels. Now, if you've got some weight in your hand, like a kettlebell or a dumbbell, that certainly helps on these. But once again, just hold something in front of you. But if you can find something close enough that works, like a lamp or a chair or a baby, then putting anything in your hands does help. So let's go and hop up to our feet. And let's use this slam ball. That's great. Let's actually use this kettlebell. They're using very different implements here. We got a heavy kettlebell and a slam ball. They're both hard in their own ways. A carousel, once again, rotational exercise. Plant your feet in a little bit of a partial squat. It's kind of like the upper body twisters, only you're holding the weight down low now. 20 each direction. Partial squat. Keep your hips anchored. Keep your lower body still. You can tell that to stop on a dime and accelerate in the opposite direction, it helps greatly if you push into that foot. Anchor yourself by pushing into your foot. 20 each way, you got 40 twists total. Again, very similar to the upper body twisters, but you're holding your implement down low. Think about like a carousel type of ride at a fair or whatever. That's what this reminds me of. Once again, try not to use your body's stretch reflex to rebound in the opposite direction. Try to stop and start very precisely on a dime. You can feel your obliques working adequately. All right, our next sagittal plane exercise, debatable, but this counts as our sagittal plane exercise. Counts to me. Planks, standard planks. Let's go ahead and use that squishy disc thingy. And we're going to use the stability ball. We're going to go, even if you can go hand straight arm plank, we're going to go on your elbows, all right? So elbow plank on your ball or even on the ground. This is a 1 minute plank. Everyone get down. We know what planks are. And we got 3, 2, 1, and begin. Now, what I like about planks, first of all, no one likes planks. I don't like planks either. But what I do appreciate about them is that you are left to your own thoughts, your own breath, and it gives you a good opportunity because obviously for a plank to be effective, we need a little bit of duration. Now you've got an opportunity because you're not moving a lot to go through all your bases. Keep your ducks in a row. Push into your elbows. Spread and protract your shoulder blades. Flex your butt. Tuck your belly button in. Flex your quads. Push your toes into the ground. Breathe. Breathe deep, steady. Long, steady inhales. Long, steady exhales. Lengthen those breaths out. Keep thinking about every single muscle group. Yeah, we're doing this for abs, but you got 15 seconds. We're doing this for abs, quote unquote, but it's full body. If ever there was a full body exercise, think feet, calves, hamstrings, glutes, abs, lower back, mid back, upper back. Push your shoulders, elbows into the ground. Almost there, and time. All right. Now, a minute's going to go by no matter what. What you get out of that minute is up to you. And that's why I said I appreciate planks because it gives you an opportunity to think about your muscle recruitment, think about your breath, because it's actually easier to do that doing an isometric exercise than something where you're moving all over the place. So, our next, thank you, Rachel. We're heading down to our fifth and final butt stuff superset. This is going to be a banded squat coupled with a frog bridge.
Stay low.
That was just a bullet point.
Gotcha.
So here's a band. You get a band. You get a band. Double your bands up. We know what band squats are. Double them up and step inside of them. Put them around your knees. If you don't have a band, it's not the end of the world. We're still going to get 20 good squats. Now, if you've got a band and something to hold, great. All right. So let's go ahead and begin our banded squats. Your focal point here will be spreading your knees and stretching your band with every squat. This is technically a goblet squat when you're holding an implement in front of you like we are. I got a fun idea because I'm full of those. Andrea, put that ball on your right shoulder. Put this on your left shoulder. Keep going. Like that. She's not weighted in a comfortable position. She's not even weighted in a symmetrical type of position. But to make these squats more effective, yes it does. And life is not perfect, so I'm also a fan of asymmetrical training. Get your 20 in, spread those knees. Sit back a little more, how many? All right, keep it going. Drop set. Yeah, buddy. Drop set, booty set. Spread the knees, work those abductors. Sit back, open up. Once you get your 20, we're done with squats. Go you. Here we go. Final cherry on top set of our hip thrusts. We're going to do a frog bridge. Let's do frog bridges on the ground. We're not using any implement to elevate your feet or your torso. So go ahead and hop down. And we're also not going to load yourself with any external resistance here. So we're going to wedge your feet together. Knees are very bent. Open the knees up like a book or a butterfly or whatever. And you're going to simultaneously push your feet together and push your feet into the ground in order to do these hip thrusts. So you see with your knees open and your hips externally rotated, we're doing a great job of hitting just that, your external hip rotators, but also, once again, the glute medius, which we love hitting glute medius because that has a very direct correlation with ankle, knee, hip injury prevention. Then squeeze the arches of your feet together, push the outsides of your feet down into the ground, get up onto your shoulder blades, incorporate that little posterior pelvic tilt, make it burn by rep 10, and make yourself pray for the set to be over in reps 11 through 20. We're almost done. Cherry on top set here. All right, once you hit 20, we are going to move on to our fifth and final core superset, our transverse exercise. Will be Russian twist, good old-fashioned Russian twist, old school. You can do these on the ground. I'm just going to give you some examples, though. Rachel's going to sit on the squishy disc thingy. Andrea is going to sit on the stability ball. You can once again, you can do this on a chair, on the ground, or on a thingy. And since we've got it, I'm going to load them up with some balls. Andrea's going to lean back a little bit. Rachel's going to lean back a lot of bit. We're going to twist and touch your implement, or at least touch your hands to the ground or whatever implement you're sitting on. You want to keep your spine long, keep your spine neutral. You really don't have to lean back much. You can almost be sitting upright on a stability ball. Remember, whatever you're sitting on can dictate how much you lean back. If you're up on your stability ball, you're barely going to lean back. It's going to feel like you're sitting upright. But the fact that you're on your stability ball is what makes that particular variation effective. If you're down on the ground, you might lean back like you're reclining in your lazy boy and about to hit nap time. You can also elevate the feet off the ground. By the way, we're doing 20 each direction. I know you're not done yet. We're not done. No one did 20 each direction yet. So you've got 40 twists total. To the end of the workout. Final core superset. Now our absolute final set of the day, last sagittal plane crunch exercise, are our forward crunches. So we're going to hop on the stability ball once again. Going to lay down on the squishy disc once again. Instead of pushing your weight or your arms vertically, you're going to crunch forward at about 45 degrees and push your weight or your hands kind of like you're reaching for the corner of the wall where the wall and the ceiling meets, about 45 degrees. So let's go ahead and hit our final 20 crunches. Last set, best set. We've got no time constraint here, so make them good. Reach forward with it. No longer are we crunching upward, we're crunching forward. Go up here a little more. There we go. Think about pushing your belly button into your spine. Think about pushing your lower back into the ground or whatever you're crunching on. And once again, get that eccentric phase in. Lean back and stretch. Inhale and drape. Sometimes it's easier to lean back and drape over certain things than other things. Awesome job. Lean back, stretch, drape. Get that eccentric phase in. Got two phases to everything. We crunch, But the other half of the benefit in exercise is leaning back under control. We're not just free falling, rolling backwards. We're almost there. Finish those reps up. Awesome sauce. We made it. Andrew didn't make it, but yeah, I like the tempo here. I'll tell you what, I wouldn't be going this slow and under control on rep 195 to 200. Now, I want to make a quick point here because we already know that GCF training instills a mindset of getting stuff done no matter what. And I just want to make a quick note. Come on up here with me, crew. I just want to make a quick note of our crew today. Leslie just hopped off because she has to go open up her business by herself in 5 minutes. Angela, who's over here, she's on vacation with no equipment, still getting it in. Susan has a broken wrist and a broken jaw, still getting to work. And Kirsten just underwent a surgery affecting everything that she can possibly do because it was based around her core. So how about that? No excuse. Yeah, give yourself a round of applause. Thank you. And here we are on vacation as well. So you're never going to have a perfect scenario. Just get to work. You either put in the work or you didn't. It's not magic. The work doesn't do itself. You got a broken arm, we're training. You on vacation, we're training. You just had your guts open, cut up, we're training. We can always modify. You can always do what you need to keep yourself motivated, productive, and moving forward in some way, shape, or form. So good job, you. I'm super proud of everyone. And I will see you next week. Have fun. Stay strong. Happy Saturday.